Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So Bitcoin got a little bit of a reaction off of the 0.618 retrace / 12-hour cloud. What do I mean by that? We'll get to that in a second. It's also the 618 of this diagonal pitch fan we've had price action in since January. But first, let's look at the liquidity and see what's going on with high block. What is high block, you say? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those crispy characters are, so let's do it now. So yesterday we were starting to bang our head to the downside here and having a reaction off of some liquidity here. Let me set it to max liquidity so I can see what actual amount. So we had a $220 million pool at 36,777 that was recovered and bounced off of
fatality.
And we were talking about possibly coming down into a retrace zone. I believe we were back here during the live, and we were calling for a projection to the downside and saying watch for a reaction off the golden pocket region, which we got. And we peeled up into these pools of shorts to the tune of 145 million up here at 38,106, and their partners in crime, some to the tune of $100 million.
Fatality.
And now they are V-shaped, recovering into some of these over leveraged longs. Some of them being 150 million down at 37.69.
Fatality.
All right, and where do they go from here? Do we continue lower into these long pools that the breakout traders that are trapped as they came up here, down into some of their partners in crime down at 36.921? Let's go find out by expanding our vision to the higher time frame pools. You're happy to let them have it. That's interesting. Fascinating. Are they're like little dogs, right? A dingo is like a dog, right? Sorry. So yeah, coming up into this pool here, now you got a thick band at the 7-day down at that 36.350 region that they could be coming back down into. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. They may come down into this region. Imbalance is slightly to the downside here as this long band gets thicker. Turning to the monthly. The monthly also getting that piping hot level down at 34K, that sweep that we were calling for, but we're banging our head just up against double-digit pools up at that 38.8 region, 10, 20, 30, 40 billion dollars up at that 38.8 region to reclaim if they are so inclined to continue to the upside and put in a higher high. So far we haven't put in a higher high, so we could be putting some pain to the shorts once again up to that 38.8 region. Nothing really beyond the 39K region, nothing to note unless they want to gap up to 40,800. There is a $25 billion pool at 40,800. But as you can see here, the longs are mighty in profit and looking for a stop hunt at some point. I don't long in premium ranges, so I'm more interested in seeing this rip to the downside and retrace properly, which it hasn't been doing. So seeing it sweep that 34K will be more of an interesting play for me to grab than any type of scalp to the upside for me personally, but to each their own. If we go to the 2-year time frame, you can see that there's not really much more up above. Cat, don't bite my cable, please. So coming up into that 40,200 has 80 billion up there, but other than that, you've pretty much cleared the range. So where do you go from here? Let's go ahead and take our attention to the Binance chart and what we were talking about yesterday. So we had this little projection, this impulse retrace idea for downside, and we're going to watch how that downside play could have had you at a pivot point for upside, and we even circled it for you where to look, and that where to look area was a key reversal zone. So let's go exactly to where that happened, where we were talking. We didn't change where it would occur either, so we were right on time as to when it would occur during that New York session, and how the bearish pattern could turn into bullish by maintaining this 236 and not going below it. So we put out this pool and it came and reclaimed it. Why? Well, let's go ahead and turn on Momentum Master, link in the description for more. Heads up display is on. Link in the description. We're going to just go over some of the key features. There is that coupon. Black Friday expires in a few days. If you're not interested, then so be it, but it will be the best deal of the year, guaranteed. So coming to these, you can toggle everything down at the features column, look at the trend cloud, the baselines, the stochastic array. These are the things we talk about over and over again. So where would you have been able to catch this? Well, first and foremost, we did not come beneath this 236. We put out the pivot to the downside here. We caught this possibly retracing. So we were going live about, I don't know when was it? it was like into this moment, but we were talking about it fatiguing and coming down to here. And then we said it would possibly come to this region and chill out. And it did not come beneath this 236. So right there, the bearish pattern is negated by not having candles close above it, or sorry, beneath it. So this was negated, so you could delete it once they reclaim. And they're having a reaction off of a 786. If we change this to deep, they came down into this 786 region, and this would have been the ultimate entry point. So let's go ahead and see how that would have occurred exactly. Well, first you had 4 time frames oversold. You would have gotten this alert to your phone after all was said and done, and this was where we were streaming live and talking about it retracing deeper. And it retraced deeper into the Asian session, passing the buck to London. London double topped and double bottomed and peeled off from there. So you had this baseline cross up event and the 4 time frames oversold, which you would get a dynamic alert to your phone about, and then you would be watching the cascade to the 15-minute. So the 15-minute got the cross up here, cross up event of the helix here, and then it maintained that despite nearly breaking down at this point. It maintained the cross up of the baselines, and this was your zone after coming into that 706 region of the deep retrace, double bottoming, and you were out. This model we see over and over again. You can go back and basically take a look at our model here. Give me a second to pull it up. What in the world? Here. This one. So it comes up and hits this fair value gap / Fibonacci pool, and it's gone. So this is what you would be looking at in terms of it breaking a structure here, coming down into retracement areas, and it was a very typical play we were talking about. That's why I said eyes on the prize. Look at this for a possible grab to the upside. So we came to these pools, we came to this fair value gap, and we ended up busting into some level up here. So we did not put in a higher high. Here was your high for the moment, and we have not yet put in a higher high. So do we start to take out these relatively equal highs? Let's go find out. Okay, so you saw how that played out, so we can delete this now and start to go fresh from the source, from the daily on downward. So we're talking about the daily time frame. So this also bounced off of the 12-hour cloud. So take a look at how this 12-hour cloud held too. So ideally having this 12-hour cloud hold was a bullish signal that we started to come up here on. And if we go to the 3-day, let's go see how the 3-day's faring. So the 3-day is still beneath that baseline. We're talking about this possibly crossing down in the next 4 days or so. We have one more day till this candle closes, and then another 3 days will bring this to fruition. Does it close with candles beneath it? This is the one bearish signal that is on Momentum Master only right now, and yeah, that's something to watch out for in the next 4 days. And yeah, so if we go to the daily time frame, the daily time frame still giving this upwards 2 o'clock signal, starting to taper ever so slightly here on the daily time frame. So this is starting to taper in a manner here. So you could be seeing the end of the daily run if it maintains this tapering effect. Coming to the daily, Williams still alluding to the possibility of a suppression of the stochastic at the 50 level if the Williams decides to dump some of this overbought status. 22 hour, a bit meandering and ambiguous to read anything from. If we go to the 12 hour got that bounce off of the cloud when we didn't have candles close beneath it. Starting to see this bounce off of the 50, the money flow and the RSI came to one another, so now they are even Steven. Could go either way from here. Ambiguous. 6 hour starting to come up here, money flow beneath the RSI, suggesting you could get a stab up some more. 4 hour time frame. Sorry, I didn't look at the 6 hour baselines. Let's go see how the baselines on the 6 hour closed. So they crossed back up again. The cross down event played out. So that's in the past. We caught that cross down event and talked about the downside. It held the super trend on the 6 hour and then crossed up. So we're still holding the baselines here on the 6 hour. So you could get this retrace up into the regions above here, putting in some higher highs at 39,151 perhaps. 39,151 would have you up in here. Do we start to continue higher? Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame is overbought on the stochastic. Money flow is now back to the RSI level. That disparity we talk about when this money flow comes beneath the RSI suggests the money flow wants to come back up to the RSI more times than not. So this cross up event of the baselines was something to witness. We had a vector candle, and will this continue to the upside here? The Williams rising sun event also in play. This is a back tested level on the Williams. If we look at the hourly time frame, we're now getting this cross down event, and just like this fractal in nature, we talked about possibly coming down into this pocket here, and we were doing it from here actually, but the same thing could be applied over here. So you take this impulse and this retrace idea, we could be coming down to an equilibrium status yet again, or into a golden pocket. Pocket would be more reasonable to think. There's also 1, 2, 3 candles. There is a fair value gap somewhere in here for a larger play model. This also happens to be the cloud kiss idea. When you pass by the cloud, it's rude of you not to say hello, so they come back and kiss that cloud. If it's genuine, comes back, kisses the cloud, and continues higher. Wednesday, November 29th. Wednesday generally complements Tuesday in some way, so I would not be surprised. You do have the cross down event of the hourly overbought starting to come down here, so we could retrace down a little bit on the Asian session into a golden pocket, more discount region to say, and coming to that 15-minute. The 15-minute got suppressed here by the Williams dumping out. This is stochastic, not to take off. So when you see this Williams suppression and this the average of itself opening up in this manner, it causes the stochastic to get suppressed. So this could happen on higher time frames with this opening up here and causing the hourly to get suppressed as well, which is how lower time frames and higher time frames interact. And this 4 hour momentum to the upside is something that might curve the hourly here. So the hourly, waiting to see how the hourly reacts off of the cloud kiss idea. Is also on the 4 hour. We reclaimed the cloud. This happened in the past. You can back test this to be true. It came up here, broke through the cloud, kissed the cloud, continued. So this type of pattern or thing that happens with the cloud is something we've seen over the last 2 years of creating this suite. Okay, it's also a strategy that I didn't know existed. It was called the Dragon, trading the Dragon or something, and I already made the dragon symbol for my channel, so I didn't even know that that's what it was. It's under the with PVSRA, and it's like a cloud style. I can't find it right now, but I was researching later after the fact, and I was like, oh my god, they have this thing they call the Dragon. Interesting. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the broader markets. Total 3 had a little bit of a dump and came back up here. We were talking about it retracing. We were off in the timing of that, but the level was pretty accurate. If we go to a 12-hour time frame, this looks more whatever, but we have reclaimed the 12-hour cloud. Do we start to reclaim the cloud and head higher? We were talking about possibly rejecting off of the cloud on the total 3. It's still a possibility. This could turn into a wick and just turn into a big red candle. So the alts could be having some devastation brought about to them. You have the 12-hour time frame still with a little bit of strength. The 6-hour on its path similar to BTC, but 4-hour time frame is also underway. The Williams pushing up on that time frame. The hourly possibly coming down similar to BTC. Looking at the total market cap of crypto, you had that nice ABC to the downside, the double bottom coming back up. Let's go see how far this D wave can go. Came back above the 6-hour cloud, reclaiming it. This baseline also crossed up here. Do we have a 12-hour? Oh, same as BTC, they reclaimed the cloud, inverting it. So this is an inversion play off the cloud to go higher potentially and give a little bit of an injection of volume possibly to total. If we look at the USDT dominance, we were looking at possibly this flashpoint event, and we got this play to the downside on trades, which knocked people into USDT, immediately giving it back. So let's go see where this idea holds water or not. So on the daily time frame, you have this other cloud idea to think about that we banged our head against and rejected off of. So possibly coming lower for this point in the future. Possibly tomorrow, Thursday, midweek reversal might see some of this flashpoint event. We might come lower here and then come up at that point. Let's go ahead and see how that works exactly. Looks like it'd be Friday though, just by the angle of things. And if we go to Dixie, so Dixie was making this 236 play to the downside. We came down to a 618, not just yet, to the dollar yen. So this is coming a little bit lower as dollar gives up the ghost to other assets like Japan yen and so on and so forth. The yen still on its path from where Dingo pointed it out back here with the rocket ships. And this is why Momentum Master is great. You don't need me, you don't need a signals group, you just get the signal embedded in the suite, which is 7 time frames of information at your fingertips with dynamic alerts to your phone. And the rest is history, right? We saw this live too, I remember. It was on a Monday, right where that arrow was. And so it retraced down. It doesn't look like it hit the 618, so where did it go? this was equilibrium, no, slightly below the equilibrium. So in this case, where would they have had to draw the fibs from? This looks like it's accurate unless you're drawing it from here. I guess you consider the impulse from this point then, in which case there's a perfect 618 reaction. I see. So you disregard the first impulse retrace, and this would be your singular retrace idea, reacting off the 618 and gone. And this is why the dollar yen is dropping. It's giving it up to other currency pairs. And this gives the risk on assets a little bit of a boost as NASDAQ also starts to reach for new highs, potentially coming for that recovery of the wick of the higher high it put in at 173. It still has yet to come up to that 140 region. So it's entirely possible we come up to this 618 deviation / fair value gap recovery. It looks like we're doing that now. We came down to the 786. We had that play to the group. We were talking about it down here at the 786 itself, talking about it being like Cinderella's slipper, because it looks very much like the slipper effect as it slips into that long and boomed to the upside from that, what was it, 15,990? So 15,990 down here and boomed up. It was right around there, that wick right up there. So boop, that was the little NASDAQ play we put out to the members in the Discord. And yeah, so either way, let's go back to the charts. BTC possibly getting a bounce here. Let's go see what this larger time frame level is. It's the 786 over here at 37,750. I'm going to remove this daily resistance level, but it has been one we reject off of. So the 786, we're getting a potential permission granted off of the 706 to go higher here, possibly coming to that 39K region. If we come to that 39K region, we will come take out this $50 billion pool on the monthly. 38.8 is the end point, but coming up to that 39K would not be surprising to me. Do we happen to do that here and now in the Asian session, or do we meander our way back down to London in this golden pocket region? It's not a normal occasion for Asia to send it, but it does happen. I've seen it on Tuesdays, I've seen it on Fridays. It doesn't matter, but when they send it, they send it. When they don't, for the majority of the time they don't, they fake pump it into a dump. So I will be patiently waiting for some levels, just like I said to wait for a level yesterday. So possibly looking for a reaction off of this level. Let's go see what pools are below. Yes, there is more liquidity in 50x longs down in that region to clear. So I will patiently wait for that to get liquidated. Taking some questions from the audience, and then I must bid you adieu. Oh, nice. Yes, I've seen a dingo, but they only have fought a kangaroo and a koala. Most don't know koalas are vicious. Wow, it fell out of a tree on you? That's crazy. It fell out of a tree because they're drunk, because they eat poisonous leaves and are constantly high off the leaves. It's hilarious. That's why they're so slow. So he just, like in a drunken stupor, fell on you and started attacking you. That's crazy. Hopefully victory's yours. Good set. Start up the fight and power slam into a pin. What's up, CNC? Hopefully you guys are doing well. I took that long on the NAS yesterday on a few accounts, so I was happy with that play. Also one earlier off some CBD stuff. So on that note, ladies and gents, I must bid you adieu. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. It looks like upside continuation for Wednesday, November 29th. Maybe midweek reversal, we'll see a better entry for a long-term short idea. So being able to pivot for that inversion play, the cloud is on your side on the hourly. and possibly coming back to kiss it with the 15-minute suppression into London, perhaps. We will see. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire of the action